Hi there, smart drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test. Quick tip for driving smart. Keep your fuel tank above a quarter tank. If you constantly run it below a quarter tank down to the empty mark, eventually you're going to burn the fuel pump out. To replace that fuel pump is about $650 to $1,000. Had a friend the other day, her son was driving her truck, broke down on the side of the road. She called me the next day and told me that the fuel pump had gone on the truck. The first question I asked her was, do you regularly run your vehicle below a quarter tank? She said, yeah, all the time. She says, I wait till it goes down to empty and then I go and fuel it up. I said, there's your problem. If you constantly let the vehicle run down below a quarter tank, eventually you're going to burn out the fuel pump. We'll be right back to explain why. Hi there, smart drivers. Welcome back. Rick with Smart Drive Test. Quick tip for driving smart. Keep your fuel tank above a quarter of a tank. All vehicles are made up of many different systems. The electrical system, the cooling system, the lubrication system, and the fuel system is one of those systems within your vehicle. The fuel system has changed with the advent of electronic fuel injection in the 1980s. The fuel pump is now powered by electricity from the vehicle's electrical system and is often located inside the fuel tank. Prior to electronic fuel injection, it was mechanical and bolted on the side of the motor, and it was powered by the motor. Now they're electric. If you have a manual transmission, ever tried to get it to roll down a hill and pop the clutch to get it started, you usually won't get going because there's not enough power from the battery to turn over the fuel pump, and consequently the vehicle is not getting fuel and won't start that way. Whereas in the old days, if you turn the motor over, you also turn the fuel pump over and you could just pop the clutch and get it going. It won't do that now. Most vehicles, once you drain the battery, you got to give them a boost. The other thing about technology and pump technology is that most pumps now are lubricated by the very liquid that they pump, and as well, the liquid that they pump also cools the pump. So what happens in your vehicle if you allow the fuel tank to run less than a quarter tank, as the vehicle moves up and down the road and goes around corners and whatnot, the fuel in the tank sloshes around and the fuel pump becomes exposed. When the fuel pump becomes exposed and out of the fuel that it's pumping, it becomes hot, it overheats, and it wears out the components in the fuel pump. If you do this constantly, after a couple of years, you'll find yourself having to replace the fuel pump in your vehicle. One other reason why you should keep the fuel tank above a quarter tank, especially in the winter time. If you ended up in an emergency situation where you end up in the ditch and whatnot, you want more than a quarter tank of fuel so that you don't freeze to death, because you need the vehicle to keep it warm inside the vehicle and generate heat. So in the wintertime especially, keep it more than a quarter tank. In conclusion, keep your fuel tank above a quarter tank. That way the fuel pump will be well lubricated and cooled, and it won't burn out on you and you won't have a costly repair. As well, in the wintertime, keep it above a quarter tank. In the event of ending up in the ditch and ending up stranded, you're going to be able to run the motor every hour and get a little bit of heat out of that motor and survive the crisis. If you like what you see here, share, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section. All of that helps us out. As well, check out the videos below. Check out the cards in the right hand corner. Lots of good information about driving, especially if you're embarking on a road test. All of this information will help you be successful on your road test. Question for my smart drivers. You ever burned out a fuel pump? Why did the fuel pump burn out, do you think? Leave a comment down in the comment section. Help out other people so that they don't burn out their fuel pump. I'm Rick with Smart Drive Test. Thanks very much for watching. Remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now.